Good evening and thank you for joining us on Women in Leadership. Before I introduce my guest, one of the things the V monologues set out to do was to demystify the female physiology and encourage women to accept themselves in totality. But there was another aim of these monologues. It was to raise funds for ventures towards eliminating violence against women and girls. The violence comes in different forms such as wife battery and assault, female genital mutilation, widow inheritance, widow abuse, humiliating marital practices. The list is endless. Now, the vision of the V monologues remains clear, that it will be commemorated every year until the violence stops. This year, the performances in Kenya were coordinated by Mombi Kaigwa, a theater personality, and this year's event was held in support of Come Together Widows and Orphans. Tonight in studio, the founder of this organization, Diana Kamande, shares her moving story. She's dedicated herself to supporting women like herself who have lost their spouses. Diana, we celebrate you this evening and thank you very much for joining us in studio.
Thank you.
Now, Diana, your story is unique because not only have you been the victim of domestic violence, but you're also a widow. What happened?
Thank you so much, Lilian. I'm Diana Kamande. I'm a widow and a survivor of violence. On 17th of April 2013 is when I became a widow. My husband came back home and he was ready to kill everyone. Sorry. So when he came back home, he had already planned, but I didn't know. So we had plans for the next day. We had a wedding in church for one of our friends. He came very angry. He didn't want to speak to any one of us, and then he left. When he left, he came back when we were asleep. Personally, I was very much deep asleep, and the children too. He had bought a sword, ready to kill all of us. So he started with me, but I didn't know it was him. So when he came to the bedroom, I didn't know it was him. I thought it were thieves. I only felt something very warm on my face, on the left hand side, and it was very painful. Then I saw somebody using a mobile phone light, and then I thought, this must be thieves. I decided to reach to the socket, and then I put on the lights, only to see it was him with a sword full of blood. I asked him, why are you doing this to me? And he told me, today we are dying all of us in this house. I want to kill you, kill the children, and then kill myself.
Had you had any differences before? Was he drunk? Did he come home drunk? Did you have such incidents prior to this particular night?
We didn't have such incidences. We had just the normal marital problems that we could sort out and life goes on. But cases of violence, we had never. Actually, I had not even seen any red flag to show that he could be violent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you say he was insecure.
Yes, he was so much insecure because to me, I interpreted like any other young woman that my husband loved me so much because he was always together with me. He couldn't leave me alone. He wanted to take me to work and pick me from work. We go to the supermarket together. Whenever he leaves me in church, he wanted to come back for me. But to me, as every other young woman, I was so much loved. I didn't interpret it as if he was insecure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this particular fateful night, what exactly did you do? How did he hurt you?
He used the sword to cut me. He cut my face. You can see I still have some scars that have not healed here. He cut my head. I'm fitted with 5 plastic nerves in my head. He cut my hands, the bones in my hand. I'm fitted with several metal plates, and he pierced my right side breast. Mm-hmm. I went through 3 surgeries. 2 surgeries in a row, and I went through 1 head surgery that took close to 7 hours in the theater.
So he attacked you with the sword and presumably left you for dead. Yeah. Where did he go after that?
I hid under the bed and I pretended that I was dead. Then he opened the bedroom door, went to the kitchen, took a knife and went to the children's bedroom. I realized that he was in the children's bedroom because I heard my firstborn daughter scream for help. She shouted and she called out and she asked him, she was requesting him, Daddy, please don't kill us. At this time I decided I would rather die than my children. So I decided to come out of my hiding place and I went to my children's room, only to find that he was already holding a knife, ready to stab my firstborn daughter.
What did you do?
I screamed, and when he saw me, he was also in disbelief because he knew this person was dead. So when he saw me, he was in disbelief, and he asked me, "You are still alive? You've not died?" And I told him, "I'm not dying." Then at this particular time, because my house girl had run out for and asked for help, my sister, together with the husband, they had arrived, and they managed to rescue the children. But they forgot me inside the house, because my brother-in-law told me, "You can follow us. We are going together with the children. You just hold on the wall so that you can at least walk and follow us." But they forgot that I had overbled and I could not make it. So they just went. When they realized I was not in their company is when they came back for me. Yeah.
At this time, where is he?
He's still in the house, and when my brother-in-law had left together with my sister, he tried to pull me back to the bedroom, and he was telling me, "Today I have to kill you. Today I must kill you, and we are dying, all of us in this house." So I told him, "I'm not going to die." And during that time is when he injured me on my hand, because he took back the sword, and when he was trying to cut me on my neck, I blocked using this hand. That's how he cut my hand. Then when my brother-in-law arrived, he was so bitter that they came to rescue me. He cut my brother-in-law on his hand. So my brother-in-law decided to run away for his help. There was one man who was one of our friends. He came to my rescue, and we left to the dispensary. Yeah.
So you call yourself a widow, rather you are a widow. What happened to him?
He killed himself.
On that same day?
Yeah, when he realized that I survived, he killed himself. He locked himself in the bedroom, and then he stabbed himself using the same knife that he wanted to use on the children. He killed himself. Yeah.
So Diana, this is a man you were married to. He had never attacked you before, and then this happens. How do you recover from such trauma? Have you recovered?
Yes, I've recovered. Yeah, the journey to recovery was so long, but I had to find out my purpose in this, because I think I came to realize everything has a purpose. Nothing happens without a purpose. So I realized that when I was in hospital, there were these special type of women that were feeling it more than me, the widows. They rallied around me on my hospital bed. They were there with me. When I got discharged, they were there with me. And then I asked myself, why are these women so much touched with what happened to me? Other women were women who have been through violence. They came telling me, "We have been there, you will recover." I asked myself, is there anything special? So we reached out to a few women, and we requested them, together with one of my friends, we requested them, why don't we start a group of 15 widows? Only to invite the widows for a first meeting, they came 25. When we asked for a second meeting, they came 66. The third meeting, 331. The number kept on growing and growing until some of the leaders of this nation realized what we were doing. So we started getting support little by little, and then organizations started coming in. Yeah.
And as we begin to wind up, what are the widows? What is the narrative? What abuse are widows going through in this country?
Widows are going through abuse. Their properties are taken away. Once you become a widow, everything is taken away from you. At times, you even lose your own clothes. That people interpret that it is a man who buys you even the clothes. Not bearing in mind, yes, he might have bought me some clothes, but maybe I was also working, so I should have bought myself some clothes. Every widow is told that they killed their husbands. Whenever a man dies, the first fingers are pointed on the wife. Then the other thing that happens, you find in some regions, they believe widowhood is a bad omen. So for you to prove it to the society that you did not kill your husband, you have to be cleansed. And this cleansing is done through sex. And this is sex with a person who you have never met, a person who has not been tested, just to prove to the society. You know, our society is patriarchal. This society believes that men have got more power than women. So when my husband dies, it's not me who, when I die, it's not my husband who killed me. But when he dies, he should not die. He's a man. It's me who killed them. So we found out that there was no law to protect the widows in this country.
There's no law to protect the widows in this country. There currently isn't one. What did you do about this?
So after my ordeal, after forming Come Together, other widow groups started coming out, and we formed so many widow groups across the country. We went from one county to another, trying to get to know forms of widow abuse from that are in different ethnic groups. So we came up with a widowhood drafted bill that we were able to present to the State Department of Gender Affairs, which is currently having it, and also a copy to our women rep in Nairobi, who are working on it. And this draft, we are hoping that it's going to be tabled in Parliament very soon, and we are going to get the rescue of widows.
As we close, you dedicated yourself to supporting women who have lost their spouses. There's a widow out there who is scared, she's afraid, she has no support group, no support system, nobody to talk to. You've gone through an ordeal, a very painful one, but you say you've recovered. What would you like to say to such a woman?
I would like to tell that woman, there is nothing as bad as losing hope. If I could have lost hope, I could not be alive. You must keep hope. You must also remain focused. Once you lose your husband, it's not the end of life, because here there are children who need to be educated. Maybe you need to pay your rent. You need to put food on the table. So you never lose hope. Once you lose hope, you even kill your children. Yeah.
And how are the children?
My children are doing very well. They're in school. The firstborn is now doing class 8. She's a candidate. The other one is in class 4. So they are doing very well. They have healed. Yeah.
And we thank you so much. We celebrate you so much for sharing your story with us. The V Monologues, like I had earlier said, came out to raise funds in support of widows. And we thank Diana Kamande for sharing her story this evening on Women in Leadership. Thank you very much, and all the very best.
Thank you.
We're taking a very short break. We'll be right back.